I don't fucking like Donald Trump. Nobody does.
I don't like Trump.
He's just moral. He's a felon.
Trump.
Trump. Who are you voting for in the 2024 election? Harvard is known as one of the most influential colleges in the entire world. And with over 1,000 of the world's biggest leaders boasting a Harvard degree, it's safe to say the fate of our planet lies within the gates of this very campus. But despite cultivating some of the world's smartest students, Harvard is notoriously known for silencing their students more than any other college in the world. So today we're going to be giving these students a platform to really voice their opinions with the one question everybody's been dying to know. Trump or Kamala?
Trump.
Kamala.
Trump.
Ooh, I don't know. Kamala's kind of cool because she's just like first female president potentially. But honestly, I just don't keep up with politics.
I'm voting for Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala.
Going for Kamala.
Kamala, yes sir.
Kamala, yeah.
Kamala is really bad.
She's bad. That is crazy.
Yeah, she's smart, she's attractive. Did I say she's attractive?
Yeah.
Anything's better than Trump at this point. I mean, policies are better. Pro-choice.
How old are you?
14.
14. Are you in high school?
Yeah, I'm a freshman.
Wow, holy cow, man. Keep up with the politics, man. Maybe you'll be here one day. Kamala's bad. Shout out Kamala, I guess. If you were to vote for anybody in 2024, who is it gonna be?
Kamala.
Kamala Harris.
Kamala Harris.
I would be voting for Kamala Harris because she actually yeah, I'd be voting for Kamala Harris.
Kamala, why is that?
Frankly, I hate to give a shitty answer, but I don't really like her all that much. It's because she's not Donald Trump. I don't fucking like Donald Trump. Nobody does.
I don't like Trump. I don't support his policies and what he stands for.
I'm proud that at least the Democrats read the writing on the wall and are making a political change that's going to help with this election cycle.
I think she represents the values that I stand for. She cares about issues like affordable housing, just helping the people in general. I don't stand for Trump. He's just someone that is immoral. He's a felon. Someone that we don't need in office. We want a respectable person. Kamala has the experience.
It's just cool to see them going with a younger candidate, a diverse candidate, and it's Donald Trump, so it's not a difficult conversation.
So is there any qualities that Kamala has that you prefer over Trump?
I think she actually brings a new type of candidate that we haven't seen in a while. I like her prosecutorial experience.
She's been an attorney general. She's been a senator. She's the right person for office.
I like having rights.
Having rights.
I'm gay, and I enjoy being able to marry who I want, be open about that at work. I'm also a woman. I take birth control. I like being able to do that.
And you feel as if you wouldn't be able to do that if Trump was in office?
Roe v. Wade fell, and they have been pretty open about their desires to come after other women's rights. Project 2025.
Well, speculation, but Project 305 or 2025 is no. Abortion rights, we should have the choice. We shouldn't have anyone else control that.
The emphasis she puts on women's rights and inclusivity is much larger than the scope that Trump does. Seeing all of Trump's past policies and his inaction, and also the really harmful rhetoric he spreads about several different diasporas is not. No, thank you.
You are very well spoken. I like that. Where are you from originally?
I'm from Texas.
Interesting. Traditionally a red state.
One of the most red parts, yeah.
Really?
Like oil town, so.
What made you kind of deviate from that norm?
I joined speech and debate in high school, and that kind of forced me to look at a bunch of different perspectives for policy analysis, arguments, etc. And then I realized, yeah, there's something missing.
Is there any one specific policy that you really stand by when it comes to Harris?
Nothing specifically. I don't agree with obviously everything she stands for. I kind of tilt more left than she does. It's kind of not about agreeing with everything that the candidate stands for. It's about it's about who you can push to or who you can fight for, who you can push the needle with in office.
Just in terms of policy, I'm definitely a policy-oriented person. Immigration policy, economic policy. Kamala's policies seem to be more, actually realistically oriented towards improving the lives of ordinary people rather than Donald Trump's scapegoating of illegal immigration, mass deportation. That's not going to fix anything for anybody.
So right now I know he really endorses Project 2025, and that is just a wrecking ball to American democracy, which I don't support in the slightest.
Social things too. I feel like a lot of Donald Trump's base, although he tries to distance himself from it, they're very big, and a lot of his biggest supporters are very big into regressing socially, obviously Roe v. Wade and stuff like that, and even going further into issues of race and issues of sexual orientation. I think that there's a big threat there.
If you were to pinpoint one of Donald Trump's policies that you don't agree with specifically, is there any one that sticks out to you?
Oh yeah, for sure. Mass deportation. Basically anything to do with the economy. He did a shitty job with the economy. He tried to gut Obamacare, still doesn't have a health care plan, tax cuts for the wealthy, which weren't didn't really help anybody.
Now, say that Kamala does get elected, right? What is the number one thing that you would look forward to seeing change in our country?
I think making the country more affordable, especially for young homeowners. I know one of her issues is making homes more affordable, so I hope she can really tackle that issue.
I like to keep my mind on the economy, and I think that inflation is kind of the big question in this election for a lot of people, and I feel like there's a very fundamental misunderstanding of it in terms of what Harris's policies would do versus what Trump's policies would do.
So you think that Harris would help decrease the inflation rather than Donald Trump?
Oh yeah, for sure.
And do you see any unfavorable qualities within Kamala that may worry you if she gets elected?
I think she can tend to switch her views to become more moderate. It's something that it's very typical in every candidate, but I wish she would be more, I guess, liberal in her stances.
So a lot of people that we've interviewed today, their big issue with Kamala has been the border crisis, but you say with her, that's kind of her strong suit. Do you want to elaborate on that at all?
Yeah, it's more not her strong suit, but more like more Donald Trump's weakness. I feel like his immigration policy is like chauvinist and like pretty disgusting. So
where are you from originally?
I'm from London.
So since you're from London, obviously you have an outside perspective on the whole election. As an international visitor to the campus, what have your observations been as far as the elections go at Harvard?
I mean, it's interesting looking in because in the UK we don't really have like that kind of distinct comparison between the two parties.
You know, the US election is one that is center stage and everyone is looking at the US and asking where is the country headed to. When it comes to the two contenders, they're all presenting, if you want, policies that have not been clearly communicated to the largest population of the American voter. And it is important as someone running for office to ensure that you get in touch with the voters to tell them the issues that you are running on and what you are trying to address, especially trying to address those issues that are more relevant to the younger generation.
From just being here alone, do you see the student body swaying one way or the other?
Probably more left, I'd say. It's a very liberal area.
Probably Kamala, given like the Boston area and East Coast, yeah.
I think people would say different things behind closed doors in interviews and stuff, but I think Harvard campus, I like to think is like pretty progressive in that way, but there's a lot of different people here.
I think it really depends on who you're with. I think like there's kind of distinct people on both sides.
To me, the polarization has been global, international. We've seen the division that is going on so many ends and with so many geopolitical issues.
But I think I've kind of made it important as an outsider to not have a, not like socialize only with one group of people, because I think everyone here is worthy of an opinion.
What is central here is that the US sets the tone. So when it comes to ensuring that people have equitable access to resources and that the migration issue, for instance, is handled both domestically and internationally, because those are really challenging issues. How do we ensure that we welcome those people who are most in need, fleeing conflict zones, but do so safely so that we protect the nationals and ensure that there is that sense of solidarity in the United States and that reflects what's happening around the world.
I appreciate you for being very understanding on both sides. Not a lot of people we've interviewed today have been very understanding both ways. Who are you voting for in the 2024 election? No. So I guess this is a good time to mention, off camera, I've had a couple people come up to me saying that they do actually prefer Trump, but they do not want to say it on camera because a lot of people have been quote unquote ostracized in an environment like this where it is very liberal heavy. They have said that it leads to stuff like social isolation, making fun of them, shit talking, all of the above. It's kind of crazy to hear about that, but I wish I was making that shit up. But I mean, based on my assumptions, homeboy back there is a Trumpy, but I'm not gonna make any conclusions. And I know a lot of people out there that do support Kamala are very anti-Trump. Do you find any favorable qualities within Trump if he were to be elected?
He has a very strong character. He's very firm in his positions, and that's something that's, I guess, could be admirable. Not specifically his character, but just being a strong person, having a strong stance. For him, I don't view it favorably. I view that favorably in Kamala, which I see in her as well.
Do you know any Trump supporters at Harvard?
I mean, like, I follow like a bunch of people in my class and I occasionally see the Trump posts on Instagram, but I don't really know them personally. So personally, no, but overall, definitely there's a community.
So a lot of students here specifically either identify very far left or very far right. What do you think either candidate can do to kind of unify us as people?
Well, I mean, it will take a genuine effort to step out of the comfort zone and to know that when your house is on fire, it's gonna be your neighbor who is gonna come over to try to take that fire out. And if the person sits there and doesn't do anything, their house will be next on fire. Therefore, it is very important to know that a problem for someone could be a problem for everyone.
I think a lot of it's the fault of the media. I think right now you've got media that's biased on both ends, but that leads to a lot of falsehoods on both ends. Without a source of news that people can trust, I think it creates a lot more divisiveness.
A lot of like what I hear about current issues is from social media. I constantly have to like kind of fight back against that because a lot of the time, like what you'll hear, I've learned recently is like people will say true things, but like when you put it in the broader context of like how the world actually works, there's a million different ways you can spin it.
So one thing that I feel is really lacking in the space is a opportunity for some conducive conversation. So I think if they actually came together, had a conversation together, and showed each other that both ends of like a quote unquote radical spectrum, at least here, could agree on something, that could shift a whole lot of people's mindsets and show them that they can agree with other people that have different ideologies than them.
People just want to be able to be heard. But if they both could come over and into the mirror, look at each other there, and then look at it as a common problem to solve, then we extend the pie that will allow us to win without necessarily thinking that it is a zero-sum game.
So this summer I created a YouTube channel called Crossroads America where we talk to people and like figuring out the root cause. And I think a big cause of it is the media, where if you don't have anything to trust, then you're just going to trust the people who support your side, and then you're going to get down a pit even further than you were before.
There are fundamental rights that young people here take also for granted, that elsewhere in other countries they don't have it, because free press is not there and people are threatened for their lives when they have certain views. But here you could express your opinion. It doesn't mean to disrespect someone, although things are not perfect, but all things considered, end of the day it is our responsibility, especially responsibility of domestic students here, to take care of these buildings, to take care of these roads, to take care of the elderly, and then provide them the resources that they need. But we could only do so if we could listen to each other, if we could understand that we may not necessarily be right all the time, that we could be in disagreement, but we don't have to be disagreeable.
I think you are the most well-spoken person we've had all day today.
Come on now.
Yeah,